Welcome to Carpe Dime, a podcast about personal finance and everyday life. I'm Jamie Davidson.
And I'm Nicole Jackson from Financial Center First Credit Union. Thanks for spending your free time listening to us talk about how life and family affects us achieving our financial goals. Today, we are going to talk about student loans and share tips on how to create a plan to tackle student debt.
Yeah, Nicole, can you believe it's already time for the second semester? It's time.
It's flying by.
It's flown by, right? Doesn't feel like it.
I know, it's crazy. I feel like August was just yesterday. Second semester is busy for everyone, especially students graduating in the spring.
Yeah, I'm sure the stress for those students is building up. You know, they've got to find that perfect job, and planning those next steps in life can be very stressful and very scary.
Definitely. I remember all those steps after graduating, finding a job, figuring out the next steps, where I'm moving to, evaluating finances. I mean, it's a lot to think about.
Yeah, you did a much better job than I did. I got out of school and I'm like, okay, I've got a degree now. What? So it took me a while to figure it out, and that's where we come into play. So if you or someone you know is approaching graduation, like my oldest daughter is, it's time to listen up. So this one's going out to my oldest daughter and everybody else like her and her friends.
Oh, that's sweet.
We got some facts to share today, don't we? Yeah, it is
Yeah,
sweet.
we
It's
do.
kind of scary. I think she looks scared. Go ahead.
She will. Well, according to Forbes, the latest student loan debt statistics show that there are more than 45 million borrowers who collectively owe nearly 1.7 trillion in student loan debt in the United States. Student loan debt is now the second highest consumer debt category.
Wow.
I know, can you believe it? It's second only to mortgage debt, and it's higher than debt for both credit cards and auto loans.
That's amazing. I mean, because you look at mortgage debt, and it's an asset, and I get education's an asset as well. But I go back up here and I look at these numbers: 45 million borrowers, but they owe 1.7 trillion. That's money. I mean, you look at that, and that's staggering. It's actually crippling, and what we're seeing is it's affecting people's lives, and that's what we're going to talk about today: finding ways to maybe deal with that.
Right. That's why it's important to be realistic when you're creating your plan to pay off your student debt, because it may seem almost impossible and really far away to pay off your student loan, but hear us out. You can do it.
Exactly. It's not a magic trick. And it doesn't happen overnight. You know, you didn't get the debt overnight, right?
No, maybe 4 years.
Yeah, or longer. But, you know, setting up that plan now and sticking to it will help you pay off your debt faster, and it'll get you moving on with the rest of your life and do those things you really want to do.
Exactly. So I think we've got 8 important steps that you can take after graduation.
That's my favorite number. I love it. 8.
Yeah, is it a magic number?
Well, they call it the magic number. I mean, for me, I think it's because I was born on the 8th of the 8th month. So.
Oh, that's special.
Yeah, I am special. Didn't you know that?
Yeah, obviously.
Getting the smile and confidence you've been dreaming about, all from the comfort of your home, isn't a total mystery with Byte clear aligners. Just don't be surprised if all your friends start asking, "What's your secret?" Begin by ordering your at-home impression kit today for only $14.95. Byte clear aligners are doctor-directed and delivered to your door. Treatment costs thousands less than braces, plus they offer flexible financing, accept eligible insurance, and you can pay with your HSA FSA. Get 80% off your impression kit when you use code WONDERY at Byte.com. That's BYTE.com. Start your confidence journey today with Byte.
All right, so step number 1 is a simple but a crucial step.
Okay.
And it kind of applies not only just to student debt, but, always moving forward. Make sure that wherever you go, you are updating your contact information.
Right. Yeah, it's very important, right? You want to, when we talk about contact information nowadays, what are we talking about?
We're talking about email addresses. So if you're going to stop using your school email address and using a personal one, we're talking about moving to a different city and state. So your mailing address, phone numbers.
Right, your phone number. It was funny. I was looking at some of my information a couple weeks ago, and I saw phone numbers on there, and I'm like, I don't know when I last had those numbers. I think it was my house phone, which I haven't had a house phone in over 10 years.
A lot of people don't anymore. Even though you have a new address, you're still responsible for paying off your loans, whether or not you get that statement in the mail. Surprisingly enough, they still want paid.
It's funny that you say that, because you don't know how many people, like, I talk to when I help with their counseling, and they're like, well, I didn't get the bill, therefore I'm not responsible for it.
Yeah, that's not how it works.
Yeah, just because you moved and you didn't update your information, you're still responsible for it.
Yeah, you signed the paper.
Right. So, yeah, you got to make sure you update that, which we're talking about second semester starting in school. So we're really talking about January. So anybody out there that's listening to this, whether you're a student or not, January is a perfect time to go and actually look at all of your, look at updating all your contact information.
Yeah, across accounts, not even just checking savings, but your utilities, your credit cards, anything.
Everything.
Yeah, so, and when you can, you might even consider switching to paperless invoices so that they come to your email, because let's face it, you're less likely to change your email address than you are like your zip code.
Right. I think nowadays the two things that people don't ever want to change are their email addresses and their cell phones, right?
Right,
Cell phone numbers?
Yeah. Absolutely.
So everybody wants to take those with them.
And another little tip that kind of goes along with this is maybe when you update your contact information that you include a permanent address, maybe like a parent as a backup, someone that's always going to know how to get a hold of you. That way they can help you receive your information in a timely manner and keep you on track for paying off.
Yeah. Yeah, mom and dad are gonna say, "Hey, I got your bill. When are you gonna pay it?" Right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not mine anymore. It's
right,
yours.
It's yours. All right. So step 2 is verify your deferment date. So basically, what this is most student loans types after you graduate, you usually have a 6-month grace period.
Okay. So that's what deferment is, right?
So deferment is, you've got that time in between when school's over to when you start paying on it. Now, as you have that loan, you can actually defer at different times throughout it. But what you need to make sure you're doing is you're aware of when that deferment ends, and also aware that that interest is actually going to accrue during that deferment.
Right, because interest accrues whether or not you're paying, right?
Well, that takes us back to our 1.7 trillion for 45 million people. That's a lot of interest, yes?
Right.
So, this is where you need to get settled in. So the first 6 months out of school, you're getting your new apartment, you're getting your new job. It's time to start thinking about what you're going to do when it comes to your education loans. Now, one thing I recommend you do that's not part of these steps is if you can start paying on them early while you're in college and getting in that habit, that's a great thing to do.
Right. So then how would you get your deferment date then, like to know when you would start paying?
Well, you can contact your loan company, whoever that's with.
Oh, okay.
And they do send out annual statements.
Oh, so that's going to be going to whatever.
Yeah, so many people. Yeah, that's why it's so important to have your contact information correct, right?
Right.
So yes, the example is every year you're going to see what your loans are. Most of us get them and go, okay, yeah, and throw them in a pile,
I don't want to
or
see
comes
it.
our email and we're like, yeah, okay. Well, now it's time to start actually looking at that because you're no longer in deferment. You're going to be expected to start paying on that. And a lot of times it can be a big bill depending on how much you borrowed, right?
Right.
So, so you've got that deferment. So the way to possibly, if you're having trouble with that, is you might want to contact them.
Yeah, give them a call and find out at your loan company when your deferment date is going to end.
Yeah, and I think this goes back to the whole idea that it's your responsibility. Like when we talked about step 1 of doing the address change, it's the same here, finding out when your deferment date is and when it's up.
Right.
Being, I didn't know. Doesn't work anymore, guys. Sorry.
But yeah, they're not nearly as forgiving as professors are in giving extensions on due dates and things like that.
That's
so,
true.
Once you get that date, you probably want to jot it down on your calendar. So we'll go into step 3. You want to make sure that you're paying more than the minimum payment. And I'm sure everybody's heard this before. If you're not paying more than the minimum payment, you're not getting anywhere fast.
Right.
Right? I mean, you may not even be making any progress with the interest that accrues, as you mentioned earlier. Like, you're making these small payments, and interest accrues every time you make that payment, and you're noticing less and less is even going on your loan, which is very frustrating.
You want to do this because you're going to attack that loan at a quicker rate, okay?
Right.
And back to what I said originally, if you can pay during school, that helps because interest can be accruing depending on the loan. Where we are right now in our society, actually, all education loans have been deferred now for about the last 22 months, but starting at the end of February, we've got to start paying on them again. Not buying, but paying on them again. And what I tried to do with the education loans that we have was pay on it the whole time because I was only paying on the principal, no interest. But interest is going to start kicking back up again. So, try to pay it when you as quick as you can, as much as you can, because interest does pile up.
And you can make payments during deferral?
You can.
Cool. So step 4.
Step 4, make some financial sacrifices. So, you've been in college, you've been having some fun, you've been getting your oatmeal lattes, your avocado toast, and I'm making fun because my daughter has those things. But once you get out and you have your apartment and you have your new job and now you've got your education loans, your healthcare costs, it might be time to look at some of those things that you think are the norm and realize maybe a $7 oat milk latte every week or every day is really not, it's not going to get you where you want to go, right?
Right.
So you got to find some creative ways to save. But it starts with you making some of those sacrifices for long-term gains.
Right. Yeah, Jamie, that's a great idea. I mean, there are so many ways you can think about cutting out your costs and go out to fewer movies, get fewer drinks, maybe even look into getting a roommate, which...
Ooh, roommates. Those are always fun.
Yeah, because your roommate, they would not only split the cost of your housing, but...
This podcast is brought to you by eHarmony, the dating app to find someone you can be yourself with. Why doesn't eHarmony allow copy and paste in first messages? Because you are unique, and your conversations should reflect that. eHarmony wants you to find someone who will get you. How are you going to know who gets you if people send you the same generic conversation starters they message everyone else? Conversations that actually help you get to know each other. Imagine that. Get who gets you on eHarmony. Sign up today.
Your utilities.
Or you could be, probably like my kids probably plan on trying to live with me as long as she can so she can pay her bills.
You don't want her to move out, do you?
She's got till 23. That's the rules.
Oh, okay.
But then again, I have a wife that'll probably change those rules if need be.
Yeah, she's definitely got veto power.
Yep, definitely. So there are many ways to start making those sacrifices, but start doing it now. This is something we talk about in a lot of our podcasts. It's about budgeting. It's about making those cuts. So you can do it.
Absolutely. Start now. It seems less painful later.
Right.
So we'll move on to step 5, and that would be to apply every raise and tax refund towards your student loans.
Oh my God, that sounds so fun, doesn't it?
It really does, because that's exactly what everybody wants to do with their tax check. So aside from your tax check, though, like when you're growing in your career and getting promotions, that extra income, you can put it towards your student loans and use that boost to make progress and paying it off quicker. Same for the tax refund, though. Like many people, they take that money, they buy a new TV, new furniture, and if you really want to treat yourself, you should put it toward your student loan. That way you're not still paying for it.
Wow, that sounds so fun, right? I got a raise. I'm going to pay off my student loan. But this goes back to balance and moderation. If you do get the raise and you do get the tax refund, you don't have to spend it all on that, but it's a good place to put some of it, right? It needs to be in there and say, okay, I've got extra money. It needs to go down to paying debt. And one of the debts you want to pay down and focus on is that education loan debt, because I know people that have had it for over 20 years. I mean, that's a long time to be paying on a debt. And
Of any kind,
right? The only one we ever see like that usually is a mortgage.
Right.
So, yeah. Your future self will thank you. Okay? So, step 6 is you need to look into payment, help, or forgiveness. It's worth looking into different payment options out there. They're available a lot of times based on your income. So sort of when you first get out of college, if your income's not as high as you plan on it being, you can set up income-based repayments.
Cool. Which would be helpful because you're still paying on it and you're not just...
Yes, and I think it is a good tool. The thing I see a lot of times, though, is I see young people that get hooked on that low payment because it's a low payment and they don't ever want to increase it.
Right.
And once again, the reminder is...
Pay more than your minimum payment.
Yeah, the interest is still accruing.
Yeah.
Yes. So, when it comes to, loan forgiveness or that sort of thing, there's different items out there. And it's important that you're looking into those. Not everybody gets loan forgiveness. Right.
Well, another option that they could consider is the student loan forgiveness option for federal student loans. And according to studentaid.gov, if you are employed by government or a not-for-profit organization, you may be able to receive loan forgiveness under the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program. Some states may even offer a different loan forgiveness option, and some jobs also offer incentives and money to pay toward your student loans as a signing bonus.
Right. There's a lot of a lot of careers out there where you can do this. What's important, the ones that they usually might be teachers, social workers. So where you're basically you're giving back to society. A lot of times it used to be with education you had to teach in a certain district, a low income district. It's not the same anymore. With a lot of these, it comes down to you've got to do this. You've got to teach. You got to be in the job for 10 years though to get the loan forgiveness. But you have to also be paying on your loans during that time. You have a certain amount that you need to pay in order to qualify for this. So make sure you're this is where we're sort of back to step one of like getting everything in order.
Right.
So do all your research on this. An example of a state loan repayment program is the Indiana Healthcare Professional Recruitment and Retention Fund program that provides loan repayments for students' loans incurred by healthcare professionals too. So you've got that going on. We'll post a link to that. Learn more on social media pages, so stay tuned. It'll be at www.n.gov Health CDPC State Loan Repayment Program.
Right. Great tip, Jamie, especially for those that are going into government, not-for-profit, healthcare sectors. So we'll switch to step 7. We got a lot of steps. So at this point, we're going to talk about refinancing loans if it makes sense. It's not for everyone, but it doesn't mean that you shouldn't look into this as an option. When you refinance, you're going to take all of your loans, federal and private, to one lender who will pay them off, and then the goal of this is to secure a better rate and a better payment term.
Right. And it's very important as we went through all these steps here, especially like the last one, if you're going to do loan forgiveness, you need to make sure you read all of the different things before you decide to refinance. Refinance may be an option. Some people think it's a great option, but you need to make sure it's the right option for you. So meet with somebody and talk to them. The idea of cutting your interest rate is a great idea. But if you switch from a federal loan to a private loan company, there might be different terms there. So make sure you're paying attention to that. You just got to do the homework. It's really important for that. And that's really what it's all about. And number 8, I like number 8. Number 8 is a great step. That's
Perfect for you.
It's number 8. It's my number.
Right.
Have I told you that? It's my number.
I think
Guys,
you
did
might
hear
have mentioned it.
So these are a lot of steps of things you need to do. But number 8's pretty easy. Stay motivated. Just keep paying what you can when you can. Pay a little bit more if you can. Because student debt can be hard, right?
It can, and it doesn't just disappear
No,
because you graduate.
There's no magic wand. There's very few magic wands out there.
No.
So get ahead of the game and start planning now. And we're at the point of repaying right now. I mean, part of the step before that would be to try to limit them as much as possible.
Right.
So let's go ahead, Nicole.
Yeah, that planning that you're discussing, Jamie, it really will make a loan a difference. So 8 steps for
a load of difference or a loan of difference? That's a horse of a different color.
That's a dad joke.
That's a dad joke. I know. She
Dad
rips me on
joke.
dad jokes all the time.
Sorry. So, step 1, make sure your contact information is up to date.
Step 2, verify when your deferment period ends and mark it on your calendar.
Step 3, pay more than the minimum payment, if you can.
Step 4, differentiate between needs and wants.
Step 5, apply extra income earned or tax refunds towards students' loans, if you can.
Step 6, look into loan forgiveness programs and see if your career sector qualifies you.
Step 7, refinance if it makes sense.
And step 8, like
Your
anything
number
else,
8.
stay motivated. I mean, sometimes it's hard to with this, but stay motivated. Get that paid off. You're going to feel so much better. You're going to be able to put that money towards something else you really like. And just in case this information is overload, just remember that we are here to help and are available for one-on-one appointments to help out. Carpe Diem is presented by Financial Center First Credit Union and is produced by me, Jamie Davidson, and Nicole Jackson.
Financial Center is a 7-time national award winner in the category of adult financial literacy, and our goal is to what, Jamie?
Help improve your financial life.
To learn more, visit fcfcu.com. Like what you hear, subscribe from Google, iTunes, SoundCloud, and the All Indiana Podcast Network, and Spotify.
And don't forget Spotify. Thank you, and Nicole, thank you.
Thank you, Jamie.
Have a great day.